If you're a principal or superintendent, you know that every school plan is laid out to fix specific things every single year. And that starts with the school, the students, the teacher, compliance, all the things. But what it doesn't include is you as the person who is running and leading such a big operations. Welcome to Lead Like a CEO. I'm your host, Chevy, and as your executive leader and operations consultant, I help principals and superintendents like yourself to lead high performing schools without running themselves in the ground. I'm a 22 plus year Air Force veteran. I have spent over 10 years plus in as an educator, traveling, teaching, all the things, instructor, supervisor, closing, being part of closing a school, but also I am your facilitator and also someone who loves operations as well. So come on into the Lead Like a CEO and drop in the chat where you're joining from as well. And today we're talking about starting with you. Okay. So drop in the chat, start as well as you all come in. And also let me know that you can hear me. So we're going to start with that. And let me just do one thing to make sure, because I know sometimes with technology, it is a little slow. All right. So start with you. But before we get into starting with you, like I said, drop in the chat where you're joining from. Also, drop in the chat start. And if this is your first time joining me here live, drop a one in the chat also. So when it comes to school, and from someone who has been part of a school and being in the educational space has always been my thing, like my drive. Like I love education. I love being in the classroom. I remember when I was, in the military, Air Force, of course, and I graduated and then I went to my first duty station. And while I was going through my own, skills development, learning about my primary job and being going back a second time for another level and being in this classroom teaching environment, in my head, I said, you know what? I want to come back and teach one day. And I'm so glad I got that opportunity about maybe a year and a half, 2 years later, because that really shifted how I want to develop people, but also be more in the classroom. And I was able to spend over 10 years in different areas in the school system, in the military, of course, whether I'm teaching, individuals joining from basic into their tech school to senior leaders at the high level who are leading big organizations, people dealing with compliance and challenges. So it's just a gamut of where we are, where I started to where I ended up, and now supporting school leaders to get to that level as well too. But it always starts with you, because when it comes to a school plan, it's required. It's looking at all the things that you want to achieve for the school year, even surpassing the school year as well. And a lot of that is making sure that, okay, what are the requirements for the states? What are what are the things that we have to make sure that we are in compliance? Let's make sure that we increase the test scores, the reading scores, all the things, which is part of a plan, which is great. But you know what is missing from that plan? It is a plan for you as the principal, as a superintendent. Like, what is your plan to make sure that you are able to not only build this plan, execute this plan, but sustain yourself while you are building and implementing these things that you need to implement for the school year and beyond. Okay. So, as an educator, I understand what it takes to be in that space, to deal with the limited resources, to deal with not having the quantity of instructors and staff to execute the mission and do what is needed to make sure that you are successful. I understand that because I remember during my time as someone in the classroom and having to rewrite curriculum, also to be an instructor supervisor, traveling to different organizations to take what we are teaching at the schoolhouse into the field. So I understand that, and I, understand managing not only that, but also all the other things that comes along with being in that specific environment, which was the military for me, and for you is a school environment. Plus, if you have kids, plus if you're married, plus if you're looking to build connections in the community, because again, all of that is part of your plan. But what happens when we continue to move in that direction where we're giving all the things to our students, our staffs, our organizations, all the things, you're not taking care of you. And you're not the only one. I've done that to myself. Whoever is going to be joining this, live or watching this live later on, more than likely they have been through the same thing and maybe currently experiencing the same thing where they're just given to all the things in the plan, but themselves. Okay. And I have proof to show from someone who has, served in the military. And if you can see, it says Air Education Training Command. So that meant after I was done with my term, and this was a 4-year experience at the time, where I left there with my master instructor badge. And this is where we went from Texas to Fort Lee because we moved to school, like I said, but this came with a cost, okay? Because I was doing a lot, but also getting my master's program. And as someone who is in the superintendent principal, like you are ambitious, you are driven. That means you are doing multiple things to help you develop yourself and grow, whether it's going back to school as well. So you have a lot on your plate. But again, where are you starting with you when it comes to your school plan? So as you are getting into this new school year, I want you to really think about, okay, how can I make sure that I implement this plan that I have for my school, but also still sustain myself through all the things that I'm looking to implement, all the impact and the changes, and also the conflicts and the challenges that will come, not only from the staff, but also the parents and top leadership above as well too. So I want you to start with you. And when I say start with you, I am not saying self-care. Because I know when we hear you got to start with yourself, you got to take care of yourself. Yes, you do. But I am bringing a different approach. I'm not saying you need to go get your nails done. I'm not saying go get a massage. I'm saying start with you. And that starts with your self-leadership. Okay? Type self-leadership in the chat. And the reason I want you to start with you and really focus on the self-leadership, because when you are able to truly tap into how you show up, how you lead, you are able to lead not only the school better, you are able to lead the staff. You're able to navigate the chaos and the challenges in a way that you are able to regulate how you respond. You hear me? Like you are able to regulate how you respond. Because I want you to think about it. And based on your lived experience, based on other people you have seen in different positions where something was happening, a crisis was happening, a challenge, and think about how they responded. Think about how you responded to the last challenge. Was it a flare up? Was it a yelling? Was it like a disrespect? Because that will happen. Was it people walking away, cutting you off? But you got to tap into the self-leadership. And that starts with you as the principal, as the superintendent. Because when you know and understand how you lead, how you show up, how you regulate, how you respond to different things, you are able to truly start taking care of you so that you can take care of all the things that will come as you're leading. I know it. I lived it, wrote it in my book, Woman Breed. So definitely it starts with you. And like I said, it's not just self-leadership. So when you are focused on you, because we want to start with you as the leader. Because too often we are starting with everybody else. Because think about that plan again. Where are you in that plan? Where are you in that plan? And I want you to be honest. Did you even think about, how do I make sure that I sustain myself as you are leading and stepping into this new school year, which begins August or September, depending on where you're at in the United States? Like, really ask yourself, what plan do I have in place for me, meaning you, to make sure that you're not only meeting the measurements that you have identified for this school year, but or for your staff, whether that's recruitment, whether it's professional development. What things do you have in place for you? That means emotionally, regulations, how you communicate, how you respond to these challenges. Because I want you to stop being the default solution for everything. Yes, you're the head of the school, but at the end of the day, every decision does not have to go through you. Should not. Let me rephrase, should not have to go through you. Because if you are the default where everyone has to go through you, then you're putting more stress. You're overextending your capacity. You should get to the point where decisions are made without requiring you to be there, without you having to have an input every single time. Because imagine if you were not the superintendent and you have to make a decision, but in order to make that decision, you have to keep going to that superintendent every single time. You're going to get frustrated. You're going to be like, okay, why can I not just make the decision based on where I'm at? And you need to get to the point where that's how you're operating. That is part of leading well, is you having the ability to not be the default decision maker in every single aspect of that school. Another thing that I want you to do and think about as you are building out, you've already built out the plan, but as you implement this plan, I want you to look at, how do you plan to manage your energy? Because your energy plays a big part in how you show up, how you lead, how you communicate, the impact that you make, your ability to sustain beyond this school year. Your energy is your drive. So you get to choose, as you are implementing your school plan for 2026 to 2027 school year, how is your energy tank? It was one question. I've shared this question before when I was an instructor for the leader development course for the military. I'll say that, before I retired out of the military about 3 years ago. And one of the questions that I asked an officer who was going to lead an organization of hundreds of people, and I asked this individual, what is consuming your energy? And this person shared, because it was a small, intimate group, because that's how the classroom was created, because we didn't want it to be, it was pretty much very intimate, so people can share and be comfortable. And this person said one team member was taking up majority of their energy because of one issue, which impacted how they showed up for the rest of the organization. So I want you to really think, as you look at your school plan, what plan do you have in place for you, for your energy? How do you plan to show up? You want to show up as the Energizer Bunny, and then by quarter 2, you're like, I'm done? Or are you like, okay, how can I sustain this? How can I still show up with joy? How can I stay up with the energy, like true energy, and not just fake energy where I'm just pretending that I'm at this level, when and in reality, instead of a 7, I'm at a 2. Okay. And there's an assessment that we would implement in the military. It was called the PDP, which is like professional dynamics. And this assessment really focused on understanding you as the person. And when I took it for me, because it's something that we also facilitated, I facilitated to other organizations within the military, which I love, and is also part of what I provide in my business as well too. And it showed my energy level was at the highest because it is. But then also had other people energy level at maybe a 2, 3. And then when I would facilitate the conversation to understand, and people would share, well, this is what's happening, you know, in real life. But on paper, I mean, but in real life, but in real life, which connected to the paper, but what they were showing was something different. So on paper, it showed, okay, you're at a level 2, and that is your real life. But in the work environment, you're showing up as a 7. And then by the time you leave the facility or the building, wherever, you're depleted. You're depleted in the space, but you're showing face to continue to show up as if you have this energy. So look at how you plan to manage your energy throughout the entire school year and beyond, because all that is part of leading well. And also, I want you to get to the point where you are able to make decisions with clarity and not confusion, because there's a lot that you are carrying that comes along with leading a school or any organizations. As the superintendent, as a principal, I do understand you got team members, you got students, you got parents, you got board members, and you're trying to make everything flow. Okay? But you cannot do that if you don't pour into you. So again, when was the last time you made a decision about your leadership? Not just when it's a crisis, not when it's a lot of things going on, but truly being intentional about how you plan to lead and show up. And I truly mean lead, and not just hold a position, because holding the position is not leadership. Because I've seen individuals in organizations in and outside the military who are sitting in a position but don't know how to lead. And if you are in that position and you're like, I got the title and I'm just going to delegate downwards, no ma'am, no sir. I need you to look at how can you step into this new school year and lead well. Not saying it's going to be perfect. I'm not saying lead perfectly. I am saying how to lead well. Okay? And that is why I created my Lead Well program. And I named it Lead Well because I want to make sure that the clients and the superintendents and the principal that I serve moving forward are able to lead well in every capacity. Even though there's challenges, even though there are going to be doubts, even though there are going to be things that just comes up out of nowhere, but you are going to be able to lead well because I'm going to use my turning stress into strength framework to help you, guide you, and position you to put yourself first and have the things that you need in place to build that high performing team, to build that high performance school, because it starts with you as the leader. And in order for you to lead well, you have to tap into your self-leadership. So if you are at this juncture of where, like, I have to plan, I know there are going to be challenges, but you want to make sure that you don't get to the point where you're questioning by the end of the school year whether or not you want to continue to be the principal, whether or not you want to continue to be the superintendent of that school. If you know you are looking for the right support to guide you and support you to sustain what you are building, and you want to learn more about my Lead Well program, I want you to send me the DM with the word strength. Okay. So as you navigate this 2027 school year, I want you to ask yourself, what plan do you have for you? And if you don't have a solid plan to help you tap into you, to develop the skill set and have the tools in place so that you can navigate the different compartments of that plan, like I said, DM me the word strength. Let's connect. You can send me any questions that you may have to see if this program, the 6-week program, is for you. This is a live experience. Door closes July 20th. It will be a small, intimate group of leaders, school leaders. Okay, so this is not 40, 50 people. This is a small, intimate community group of leaders who are looking to sustain beyond the school year by making sure that he or she is focused on his or herself first, so that they can show up better and lead better in the space that they are leading in. All right. Well, that is what I wanted to talk about today on the Lead Like the CEO show. It's starting with you. We start with you as the leader. And as always, drop any questions that you may have, #replay, share this with one of your school superintendents or principals. And if you're like, hey, Chevy, like I am not, in that category, but I would love to learn more, send me a DM. Send me a DM. But I want to thank you all for joining me on Lead Like the CEO show. I'm your host, Chevy, helping principals and superintendents like yourself to lead high-performing schools without running themselves into the ground, okay? And as a 22-plus year Air Force veteran, author of my book, Woman Breed, helping you to lead through life, career, and business while thriving in every seasons of all of that. So you can grab your copy at womanbreathe.com. And it also comes with a workbook as well. And what I'm sharing in this 6 weeks experience, some of it is already in here as well. Okay. So for me, it's all about making sure that as we are leading in high capacity, high stress environments, leading people, which your girl has done, that you are also taking care of you to build and develop the thing that you are leading in. All right. Well, thank you for joining me on the Lead Like the CEO show. Have an amazing Wednesday as always. And reach out to me if you have any questions for me, if you want to learn more about what we do here at MAC Leadership Academy, whether it's speaking, training, but also operations. Please reach out and have an amazing Wednesday, y'all.